Warning, the following audio transmission will forever change your outlook on society. You will no longer believe the narrative. You are about to wake up and see things for what they really are. News, facts, and opinions. This is the Doom Daily Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Doom Daily Show. I am your host, Jester Dooms. The email, doomdailyShow@gmail.com. Everywhere on social media @Jester Dooms. The website, www.jestersvoice.com. Everywhere on social media @Jester Dooms. Go check out the website. Get yourself an Apocalyptic Apparel t-shirt. We greatly appreciate it. It helps out myself and producer Scooter tremendously. Also, while you're on the website, use that audio button at the top of the page and send us a little message on there, would you? We'd love to hear from you. So today is Friday, May 22nd, 2026. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. I hope your morning is bright and cheery, and I hope that your favorite song's playing on the radio and your coffee's perfect today. I hope breakfast was good. What'd you have for breakfast? You have donuts? You have cookies? Did your fat ass eat a Twinkie? You know, as you're listening to this, driving off to work or whatever it is you're doing, I've got a friend here in town helping me tremendously get some things done here on the homestead, and that's why we missed a couple episodes. But we're going to do what we can. We're going to work with these new tools that were provided for us and hopefully get you guys out episodes, every day like we typically do. Now, I will say this. Because everything is a bit chaotic right now, you may experience some abnormally short episodes. Okay, it's just kind of the nature of the beast. We've been running around like chickens with our heads cut off, and basically, it's kind of a situation of, you're chasing your own ass all day, trying to get stuff done, and you're under a lot of pressure because you have somebody here to help. And you want to utilize all this time wisely. You don't want to be frivolous with your time and, waste it. So we're doing what we can. So we're going to talk about some things, in the show tonight of what's going on. Today was a good day. Did some run around, pick some things up. We've got a lot of cool plans that I'm going to talk about on the show today. Now, I got to tell you, when I was out running around, I really, really saw some fat ass people, man. And I don't know. I went to a Walmart that I don't typically go to because I won't shop at Walmart in my town anymore. So I haven't been in a Walmart for a little while now. And it's like, man, I want to run in there and get this one thing that I saw they had. So like I ran in to get it, and I'm just thinking like these people are gargantuan. And I don't understand if it's like this town or what they're feeding these people. But I mean, it was like, it felt like stepping into kind of another world. And ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you, man, obesity is not healthy. If you're going down the road of getting too large, you guys got to work on that because it's not healthy and it will kill you. All right. And, this isn't a fat shaming thing. It's a concern for your health thing. And what's really been killing me lately is I'm seeing the health problems that incur with people that are larger, and I'm seeing them not give a shit. And I'm seeing them cry when the fat shaming happens. But what got me fired up was I go into a store and I can't get to the shopping carts because they're all blocked by the fat rascal scooters. The fat people scooters or the old people scooters, whatever. And it's not the old people being dicks leaving them in front of the aisles. It's the fat lazy shit that's like, now I'm just going to leave this right here. It's somebody else's problem. That's who's doing it. And I had to and I'm not jumping on this thing and driving this thing around. So I just physically picked the damn thing up and moved it out of the way. But it was just, that's where the annoyance started. And I started seeing the people around me and how big they were and like the things they were buying. And I'm like, this is why, this is why. So it had me kind of just disgusted with my fellow man as I'm walking through this store, first encountering, I can't get a shopping cart because they're all blocked by the rascal scooters. And then I'm trying to get through the aisles and there's just these like super, morbidly obese people that are buying like candy and junk and crap. And I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? And I don't know. What's every year when we go overseas and we come back, like I notice how much more swollen our population here is in the States versus Europe. And I'm just over here kind of like, damn, it seems like it's getting worse. And I know that there are people out there that just, their doctors, they tell them these things and they just neglect their doctors. And they're just like, well, I'm not going back to the doctor. They told me I'm fat and I need to lose weight. Well, yeah, because you are. And yes, you do. So it's your doctor's job is to be concerned about your health and your well-being. If you're morbidly obese, your health is in trouble and your well-being is in trouble. That's his job or her job or whatever. So if you see yourself going down that road and you say, hey, I'm noticing I'm getting too big, like it's up to you to do something about that. Nobody feels bad for the fatzos. Okay. They don't. It's your job to eat right. It's your job to get exercise. It's like nobody else is going to do that for you and no one's going to feel bad for you. All right. And it is just, it's not a good place to be in life when you can't function and your health starts going to shit, because this is what happens. Inevitably what happens is these people, they stay big for so long to the point where their health is in trouble and they can't recoup. They can't get better. Their bodies they're starting to give up. So it's too late to reverse it. So I don't know, just, public service announcement. If you're a fat ass, fix it. That's all. We'll be right back after these messages.
Can't get enough of Jester Dooms? Check out his other show, It's Doomsday Podcast, available on all podcast platforms. That's It's Doomsday Podcast.
Back to the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Doom Daily Show. I'm your host, Jester Dooms. The email, doomdailyshow@gmail.com. Everyone on social media at Jester Dooms. All right, so to continue on the trend of health, an interesting article that popped up on the Epic Times yesterday, what flavored vapes do to your body. Okay, now, before we get into this, I have a friend of my wife who's a surgical tech, and they talk about how she was mentioning, when they cut people open for surgeries and you see a vapor's lungs, how they're like destroyed from the vaping. She's actually given us a description of like it's becomes like a broken down sponge because it just can't take any more water vapor. All right. So we can all just understand vapes are good for you. So here's the article. Vapes are now marketed almost like candies with colorful packaging and enticing flavors such as mango, vanilla, and strawberry, all sold at convenience stores near you. For the past 6 years, only flavored vapes that were legally sold in the United States were the more familiar tobacco and menthol varieties. However, the recent Food and Drug Administration, FDA, authorization of 2 flavored vape products could change that, although the agency has put guardrails in place to prevent children from accessing them and reduce illegal sales. The decision has still raised concerns. The issue with flavor vapes is not only that flavors may increase their appeal and addictive potential, but that the flavoring chemicals themselves may pose health risks. Now, if you thought that you were going to inhale vapors and not do any harm, you were wrong. If you thought you were going to inhale flavored vapor and not do any harm, guess what? You were also wrong. The health risk of flavors. Flavors are chemicals, and each has a distinct chemical structure that can lead to different health effects. Among the hundreds of vape flavors studied, Ifrin Rahman, a professor of environmental medicine at the University of Rochester, said that there are 2 primary ways flavorings can become toxic. Some flavor additives are inherently toxic when inhaled. When heated and vaporized, flavoring chemicals often break down into toxic alkalides. Toxic alkalides that have been detected in vaping vapors include formaldehyde, acetylene, acetylide. These compounds can inflame and damage the lining of the lungs, causing coughing, wheezing, chest pain, and over time irreversible lung damage. Fruit flavors are particularly likely to release alkalides, Rom said. Aldehydes. Maybe it's aldehydes. ALDHYDES. Aldehydes? Maybe. Some flavoring chemicals are toxic to the lungs even without breaking down into aldehydes. These include flavors such as diacetyl acetone and 2,3-penadiene, which often added to create buttery flavors such as popcorn and caramel. Other flavorings that have been shown to cause inflammation, DNA damage, and stress to the lung cells include cinnamon, vanilla, strawberry, and even menthol. Although these chemicals may be considered safe when eaten and are often added to ultra-processed foods, such as store-bought margarine and popcorn, they cannot be safely breathed in, Ramen said. Ramen, I think is how you say this professor's name. So, I mean, this is something that should have peaked, like, this should have made your brain do something when you guys saw all these flavors sitting on the shelf. Like, oh, we're inhaling all these random different flavors. Like, you think when you look at a bag of Skittles with all the flavors, you look at the ingredients, you're like, oh, these aren't good for you. You know, I guess it takes all kinds. I don't know. Unlike the liver, which breaks down toxins into less harmful components, the lungs can only remove toxins by using mucus to sweep them up, then pass them into the digestive system for disposal. Which more toxins enter the lungs, they can clear it, can lead to permanent damage. So if more toxins go in there than what your lungs can deal with, your lungs get damaged. Okay. A study of workers in popcorn factories exposed to diacetyl. These chemicals names, man, are killing me. Found an increased type of obstructive lung disease, later nicknamed popcorn lung. Even unflavored vapes can carry risks, including exposure to heavy metals that sometimes leach into e-liquids. The main ingredient in these cigarettes are propylene glycol and glycerin. Although the FDA classifies these ingredients as generally recognized as safe for eating, heating can cause them to break down and release toxic aldehydes. All right, and then there's obviously the nicotine and addiction side of this. Flavors make vapes more appealing, especially to adolescents. One study led by research from the University of Southern California showed that children who have used flavors other than menthol or tobacco were more than likely to continue vaping and take more puffs. However, the biggest concern with vapes is the highly addictive chemical inside the nicotine, which accounts for 2% of vape ingredients. Early adolescence is primarily vulnerable, period, for negative effects of nicotine. Francis Leslie, a neuropharmacologist and professor at the University of California, Irvine, told the Epoch Times in an email. During this period, the brain is particularly malleable, and exposure to stressors or addictive substances can easily take root. Adolescents can become dependent on nicotine at lower levels of exposure than adults, making addiction that begins during this stage more difficult to reverse, according to a study published by Neuroscience and Behavioral Reviews. Disruptions to the brain's reward pathways can affect not only substance use, but also motivation, self-control, and attention. Children exposed to nicotine have been shown to have great impulsivity, inattention, and depression, Leslie said. Broad risks of vaping. We're going to cover this right after the break.
Hey, Producer Scooter here. First off, thank you for downloading and participating in the wide world of Jester Doom. Please be sure to check out JestersVoice.com website. Everything you want to know is located on JestersVoice.com. If you're looking for salacious details, it's on JestersVoice.com. Don't forget to share the show with your friends and even with all your enemies. And now, back to the musings of Jester Doom.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Doom Daily Show. I'm your host, Jester Dooms. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the show. All right, back to it. Broad risks of vaping. Although vaping is generally considered less harmful than smoking, it still poses significant health risks. In quotations, vaping has immediate effects like hyperreactivity and triggering asthma. Adam Leventhal, director of USC Institute for Addiction Science, told the Epoch Times, studies are still limited regarding the exact long-term effects. And I've said this, ladies and gentlemen. I've said, like, there was a time where everybody thought, smoking was good for you. And after so long, everybody figured out that it was really, really bad and people started quitting. And then it became a business of getting people to quit. It's just, we know it, man. We know it. But I will tell you, and I don't know why this has been a trend lately, and I've just noticed this. I've noticed less and less smokers when I go places. I smell less and less cigarette smoke when I go out. Like, it's just, I feel like people are quitting the cigarettes and they're putting them down. And I feel like teenagers aren't picking up the cigarettes anymore. And I think it might be because the vapes have been taking over. I think it's because the knowledge of the cigarettes, everybody knows cigarettes will kill you, so why do it kind of thing is happening. But then also there's a lot of people out there that have been opting for different like nicotine pouches and things. So I've noticed a decrease in smoking in my general area. Chemicals in vapes. Oh, but to get back to what I was saying, Studies are still limited regarding the exact long-term effects. I've been saying for years that bad shit's going to come out about these vapes. I've been saying this for years, so we haven't had them long enough to know the downfall yet, but it's coming. It's coming. Chemicals in vapes have biological activity in a lot of different organ systems. We just don't know what type of damage that may cause, Leventhal said. The strongest evidence to date involves the lungs and the mouth. Vaping has been linked to lung conditions such as e-cigarette or vaping products used, associated lung injury, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and popcorn lung. Toxins as heavy metals and aldehydes can also increase risks of lung damage and cancer. Vaping can also cause dental and oral health risks, Ramad said. People who vape have higher rates of gingival and periodontal disease and a greater risk of dental caries, whatever that means, a greater risk of dental caries. Anyway, evidence is also accumulating on heart-related risks, including hypertension and reproductive issues such as erectile dysfunction. You hear that? You hit the vape, your wiener won't work. Although health influencers have promoted nicotine as a wellness product for the brain, the evidence has been mixed. One small study involving 18 adults showed a short-term boost in memory. However, long-term studies have showed that nicotine users have better brain health, that non-nicotine users have better brain health. Leslie noted that the effects of nicotine in adults and children can be drastically different with adolescent use linked to poorer memory. Some people who do not use vaping as a temporary aid to quit smoking, it certainly is less hazardous for the time being than smoking, said Leventhal. Research has shown that people get exposed to fewer toxins when they vape as compared to when they smoke. And we all know this. We know that cigarettes are packed with shit. Okay? FDA safeguards and ongoing concerns. The FDA has put several safeguards in place to discourage use among minors, to encourage people to give up smoking. The vape device must be Bluetooth connected to the user's phone. That's crazy. To be used, users must also verify that they are at least 21 years old, and the device conducts random biometric check-ins to ensure that the restricted user is the one using it. Nonetheless, some experts remain concerned. Leslie said that allowing fruit-flavored vapes may increase their appeal to adolescents, although these are intended to assist adult smokers in cessation. These may also be used illicitly by teens. All right, so that's it. That's the end of the article. Now, there's so much to unpack with this. Let's start with this. Everybody's going to have a vice, whether your vice is smoking, like everybody's going to have a crutch, right? And the vapes have been a lot of people's current crutch. The future of vaping is going to drastically change, mainly for the sake of companies turning more of a profit. They're not going to want this to go away. This is a business. They want, these vape companies want to keep making money. So they're going to abide by the rules in order to make that happen. A Bluetooth-enabled vape sounds expensive, especially one that can connect to your phone, right? That Bluetooth connecting phone to an app, Bluetooth connecting vape to your phone with an app that's allowing you to use it to signify whether you're 21 or not, I think is kind of bullshit, because how many people out there can just fake that, right? But I think it might be worth entertaining some other ideas, okay? Maybe you have vapes that do not last as long, to where, I think what should happen is there should just be a higher tax on this, okay? Make this a relatively unaffordable thing, all right? And you don't make the vapes last as long, so people have to buy them more frequently. That'll encourage people to not use these things, right? Now, vaping has already been outlawed, like on the airlines. You can't vape on planes. I thought that was the stupidest thing when I heard it, but then I realized, you're contaminating the whole airplane with these vapors and things. So the long and the short is, I don't think that anybody should be vaping long term. I don't think the kids should be getting a hold of these. I don't think that a vape enabled or a Bluetooth enabled vape is going to be the answer to the problem. Okay. I just don't think that these things are going to be logical. Okay. You got to charge your phone so you could use your vape. I don't think anybody's going to tolerate that. I don't see that flying. And then the technology that has to go into that and the cost of the vapes, I don't think is going to fly. I mean, it's an idea, but I think people would fake it. They'd find a way around it also, I think. You know, the idea of vaping long term is just going to kill people. The idea of kids of getting a hold of these things are bad. I mean, what if you just simply made vapes a thing that was sold at pharmacies and got a script for them to aid in, you know, dropping the habit of smoking? If it was actually considered a medical non-smoking aid and you got a script from a doctor, okay, what if you did that? And that's it. Then there's a process you got to go through here. You got to get these and not have them covered by insurance. Prescription only vapes so you can stop smoking. I think that could be something that might be a little bit more feasible. And maybe you don't have 1,000 different flavors at the pharmacy, but maybe you have a couple. Maybe you have a regular, a menthol, and then you have maybe something that's just like pretty basic standard flavors. Vanilla, coffee, strawberry, that's it. Just like a handful, that's it. Prescription only till these vapes start to go away. Now, what's interesting is there's different types of vape apparatus in different areas of the world. Someone I know overseas has this like little box deal that they pop these little filters in and they vape through these little filters with this little box, and then they have to consistently change the filter out, right? Which I thought was a really interesting little vape setup. I don't know what the hell it's called, but it's good, right? So, but anyway, that's all the time I got for today on the show. I hope everybody has a fantastic Friday. You made it to the weekend. Own the weekend. Enjoy yourself. Do your thing. I got to work, unfortunately. I got to work this weekend. But yeah, that's all the time we got for today. We'll catch you guys back here on Monday for another exciting episode of The Doom Daily Show.
News, facts, and opinions. This is The Doom Daily Show.